Good evening, everyone. My name is Kay Henyon, and I am the admissions office manager here at St. Anne's Belfield School, as well as an alum and a parent. Before I turn things over to our director of middle school, I would like to share a few details with you. Just like in the larger main Zoom room with Dr. Graves previously, our breakout group will also be recorded, and you will receive the link in the recording tomorrow. All participants have been muted so we can focus on the middle school presentation. At the end of the presentation, we will have an opportunity to answer your questions. So please feel free to submit your questions through the chat feature. They will be submitted directly to us. And finally, you're currently in the middle school breakout room. If you would like to be in a different breakout room, please leave this room through the button on the bottom right-hand corner of the screen. Do not close out of the Zoom completely. This will take you back to the main meeting room, and my colleagues will assign you to the correct room. All right, without further ado, it's my pleasure to introduce to you our head of middle school, Marie Reed. Marie will share with you more about her professional career, but as a fellow parent, I cannot emphasize enough what a tremendous resource Marie is. She's a calming force for those of us experiencing one of the most challenging and rewarding jobs there is, being the parent of a middle school student. Marie, thank you for being with us tonight.
Thanks so much, Kay. I'm loving seeing the words come in on the chat. We've got change, we've got transition. No one has just said awkward yet, which I expected to be the first word for middle school. But my name is Marie Reed. I'm the head of the middle school. I'm joined tonight by Michelle Matheson, who is our preschool through 8 Dean of Academics. She is also a dear friend and thought partner for me, and really pushes everyone in our building to do great work for middle schoolers. So I'm just excited to be with her and to be with all of you tonight and to talk middle school, which I could do all night, but they have limited me to 10 minutes. So I'm gonna get started with just a little bit of personal information and then we'll jump into the program. Kay, can you switch slides for me? Thank you. I too am a middle school parent. I have a 7th grader at St. Anne's Belfield. I also have a 4th grader, soon to be middle schooler, I can't believe it, in our program as well. And my husband teaches on the middle school faculty, and we're dorm parents in the residential life program at the upper school. So we live here. This is our home. This is our community. And I hope I get to share more with you about that in the Q&A. Just know that as I share tonight, this is a very personal presentation to me, because from the time that I joined the school 8 years ago, I have just gotten more and more deeply involved in this community and just benefited so much from it. I'm so grateful for my time here. So today we are here to talk about middle school. I saw the word change, I saw the word transition, and the word I want you to hold with you tonight is the word opportunity. As new science comes out about the middle school mind, it is becoming clear that the ages of 9 to 14 are sort of like a second window of opportunity, very similar in neuroscience to the preschool age. Middle schoolers are capable of growing in tremendous ways when given the right kind of experience. And for so long in education, we have treated middle schoolers like little high schoolers, and they are not little high schoolers. They need their own kind of program and their own kind of approach. And I'm excited to share that with you tonight. At the end of my brief presentation, we'll have some time for Q&A. I'd love for you to take a moment as I speak tonight. If you hear anything that you would like to hear more about, just jot down that word or phrase. I'd love to share more detail at the end if there's something that interests you. So Kay, can you take us to the next slide? Thank you, Kay. I think it's really important that we start here as part of a preschool through 12 school. Our program is not just a middle school program. It's guided by our mission statement. When I joined the school 8 years ago, I joined it, actually, I came here for a professional experience and met some people here. I was so moved by the educators I met that I decided to look for a job here myself. And this statement represents what I loved about the school in that very first moment, which is that the school takes the long view with children. The school is interested in the types of human beings that young people grow into, and the school is interested in the types of human beings that the world needs. And the statement encapsulates that with our focus on citizenship and leadership. The values at the bottom of the screen are really interwoven, starting, if you can believe it, even in our 2- and 3-year-old program. And at a future admissions event, I'd love to talk to you more, or Michelle can talk to you more about how these values really, truly do guide our academic program. But this is a sense of what we're about, not just in the middle school, but beginning with our 2-year-olds and going all the way through our high school graduates and alumni, citizenship and leadership. Thanks, Kay. I feel like it's important to start here with the academic program. That is the heart of the work that we do. But I hope you will also notice that this slide includes some items that in some circles people may not consider academic. The truth about middle schoolers is they learn everywhere, and often they learn best when they're not in a classroom with four walls. And so when we think about our middle schoolers, we really design a program that meets a broad range of their needs and engages them in broad activities, experiences, and topics. And so from our advisory program, which is really a social emotional program, to our athletic program, to our integrated computer science, we are always teaching with kids this age because they are always learning. They're always paying attention. And so we really treat each of these spaces, both those that look like traditional academic subjects and those that may seem to not belong on this list, as classroom spaces. I hope you get a chance to meet one of our coaches to hear more about that with athletics. Tonight, we'll dive deeply into just a couple of the examples within our academic program, but I want to say that some programs, they'll list features of the program on the slide, and maybe those are only open to certain children, but every single one of our middle schoolers, grades 5 through 8, participates in all of these opportunities. This is our core academic program. And we can say more about those items later. Thanks, Kay. More important than getting into the details of curriculum, which Michelle can share with you, actually, there'll be a second webinar in October where we will just talk about the middle school academic program. I think it's really important to introduce you to what we hope and what we believe teaching and learning should and does feel like in our middle school. We are an independent school. I was a child who was raised in the public school system, actually not far from here, about an hour south of Charlottesville. And I didn't really understand independent education until I was an adult. But an independent school is a school that has the autonomy to design and deliver curriculum and assessments in a way that they feel achieves their mission as a school. And so our program is unique. It's not replicated in any other school. And it's guided by some core beliefs. And tonight I want to share with you just some core beliefs we have about middle schoolers, because that will inform all of the subject areas that you saw on the previous slides. I'm just going to read a statement for you that I actually have taped to my desk. Middle schoolers need learning that is both spontaneous and intentional, playful and challenging, timely and also lasting. If that doesn't encapsulate all the change in middle school, I don't know what does. But as a middle school, I'm going to kind of boil it down to two pieces today. We focus on two elements for our middle schoolers. One, we really think a lot about what is engaging to a middle school learner. I'll talk more in a moment about how middle school is all about identity building. And we want our kids, I want my 7th grader to leave middle school with a positive self-identity and a sense of being competent in the world. When students are highly engaged in learning experiences, they develop an identity of being a learner. And that's what we want for every single one of our kids. To us, that is actually part of citizenship. And so in our program, we prioritize opportunities for our students to discover new topics, new interests, new subjects, and we try to help them make connections with their learning that feel personal and relevant. And a lot of that happens when learning happens within relationships with teachers and other students. And so engagement is really important to us. However we teach, we want it to feel connected and relevant for a middle schooler. That is when it will be most powerful, and that is when our middle schoolers will actually grow into people who say about themselves, I am a learner, and that's what we want for every child. Secondly, middle school is a time that is focused on enduring skills that will form the foundation for independence in the future. And those skills help students manage their own lives and learning. That can include academic skills like reading critically, writing clearly, investigating ideas from different perspectives, making observations and analysis, applying problem-solving strategies. It also includes a lot of skills that transcend any academic discipline. Managing time is a key middle school skill. Communicating well with adults and peers. Here's a hard one. Listening openly to ideas and perspectives that diverge from your own. Giving and receiving honest feedback. Responding to setbacks, getting up when you stumble. All of those skills, both academic and kind of, I call them transdisciplinary, are at the heart of our program because our teachers understand that our students are moving towards increasing independence and they want them to feel confident and prepared as they take that on. So I think of middle school as this way. Before middle school, students are learning to read, write, and think. And in middle school, they become readers, writers, and thinkers. And that's kind of the philosophy that's underneath our program, is building the sense of competence, the sense of engagement, and the enduring skills that support that independence. It's a messy process, but it is also an incredibly joyful one. I'm living it with my own child now. So I want to dig into a couple of pieces of our program that I think emphasize that philosophy in action. So Kay, if you could take us to our next slide. So one of the pieces of our program is advisory. And sometimes this is used synonymously with homeroom, but every student in our middle school is placed in an advisory that ranges from 10 to 14 children. And this advisory is their home base in the academic program. In 5th and 6th grade, they begin their days in a 30-minute advisory. And it is truly a community time in which we get to know the kids and we help the kids get to know one another, even people who they don't necessarily socially relate to. That's a time when we build a community within that small classroom that extends to a grade level community and ultimately to a school-wide community. So it's a big flex space at the start of their day, but it's also the space where we focus on those enduring skills. Advisors work with their students around how life in the middle school is coming together for them. How are they managing their workload? What is challenging? What goals should they be setting for themselves in order to take on more independently? Advisors are really coaches in that role. And my favorite words when I think about advisory is they cherish the children, our advisors, and they champion them in our program. And so an advisor is almost like a coach or an at-school parent who's watching over a given student over the course of their day and helping that student reach their full potential in our program. It's a really special place. Okay, let's switch to the next slide. Now, I know Michelle's going to smile when she sees this slide because this is the joy of our lives together. It's a program we've been working on for many years. But another just great snapshot into our middle school program is the Quest program, which is a program that is for our 7th and 8th grade students. And in a Quest, students take ownership of their learning. This is the agency that Dr. Graves talked about, by collaborating with their teachers to set an agenda for the course and actually developing the experience together. So a Quest is a trimester-long elective. We change every trimester and offer a new slate of them. And it focuses on one or more of these 3 principles: learning to learn about something that really excites you, learning to serve others, or learning to lead. And some of them do more than one of those. What you'll see on the screen is actually the quests that are in session right now. In fact, Michelle and I were just in them a few hours ago with our 7th and 8th graders. The list that you see here is just this first trimester's quest. They change every trimester. And the really exciting moment is when we get to trimester 2 and 3 each year, 8th graders get to pitch their own quest. And they say, here's something I want to explore with my peers and my teachers. They stand before the middle school, they pitch their idea, and then they receive the support of a faculty member who coaches them through planning and leading their own mini elective. It is a really exciting process. Smiling, Michelle, right? Yeah, I can see your smile. Okay, let's go to the next slide. So I could share so much more, but I'm going to try to encapsulate a lot here. The primary work of middle school, as I said, is identity development. It's what we all want as parents: a sense of competence, a sense of confidence, and a sense that you can make an impact in the world. Middle schoolers are trying to figure out who they are and who they want to be, and often who they want to be with. Those are really big questions. So there's something really beautiful and unique about being in a school that has 2-year-olds through 12th graders, because it means that at any given moment, our middle schoolers are being mentored or they are mentoring others. We live in a community with lots of different ages. We hold time in our weekly schedule to ensure that students have an opportunity to connect with other grades, other grade levels, other divisions, to serve and to lead. These images just show a miniature window into that work. The top left one is our 8th grade celebration from last year, where the 8th grade class planned and came together for a COVID-safe event to honor their graduation at the end of 8th grade. The bottom left is just a small window into pre-COVID, but our weekly chapel service where students tell stories about what really matters to them in the world. And then in the upper right, you'll see an image of our athletic program. In grades 7 and 8, our students participate in at least 2, many students participate in 3 seasons of school athletics. For middle schoolers, this isn't just about sports, it's about belonging. It's about learning to be teammates and being together and working towards a goal with other students. It's a powerful moment in our day. And on the bottom right is one of those really special interdivisional activities. We have a tradition that's longstanding here of the first graders studying birds, and the 8th graders come and help them build bluebird houses. It's a really special moment in the school, but just one example of the work that we do to create service and leadership opportunities in that preschool through 12th grade context. So perhaps one of the greatest gifts that Michelle, Kay, and I, who have long time been members of this community and are fans of this place, experience is watching our students grow through the preschool through 12th grade program. This morning, some of them drove through the arrival line. Kids I taught in 7th grade, they were behind the wheel. It was mind-blowing, but it's so fun to watch them grow and evolve over time and witness the people that they become through the interactions that they've had with both their peers and teachers in this building. It is an incredible privilege to be part of that journey at the middle school moment that's full of change and transition, and yes, everyday awkwardness, but also just incredible opportunity. So I'm glad I got to share a little bit with you tonight